book lovers. Welcome to Seriously Sandra, where we get real about books and the brilliant minds behind them. Today, I'm uber excited to chat with the amazing Linda Hughes. We're going to be diving into her stories, her plots, and all her writing magic. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's chat books. Welcome, Linda.
Oh, Sandra, I am so happy to be here and I am cozy. I have my drink, have my coffee. So
Oh,
you and I'm pretty sure going to get into some trouble here. So let's do it.
all right.
Let's have
So,
fun.
totally, since you said coffee, how do you like your coffee?
Oh, cream, sugar, chocolate.
Yes, me too. Because, this it's so interesting because some people like it, just plain black. And I like mine with a lot of cream and sugar. So I love it. I love it. Oh
All the
my God,
stuff.
all good stuff. So my lovely readers, I have known Linda for a while, and last year I guess it was, yeah, because we were in 2025. I keep saying it feels like the year's just going, isn't it? I'm like crazy. I'm like, anyway, so she wrote Homecoming Queen, and she was telling the story on when she actually wrote Homecoming Queen. And I think it's sort of intriguing and just a neat jumping off spot. So, Linda, you want to share a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, it is a good jumping off spot, whether you're a writer or a reader or both. I wrote this book 25 years ago. Wow, it is 2025, 26 years ago. Time is flying. And it was my first novel that I ever had published. And it was 120,000 words. And for readers, that's a whole bunch of pages. It's like 400 pages. And back then, the book was a bestseller immediately. I
Oh,
had a wonderful agent. I had a publisher in New York City. It was also very exciting. And I had a meeting with Miramax, which was a movie company at the time, and they were going to make a movie of it. And I just thought, my life is set. This is it. I'm on my way. I'm a writer. This is so easy. All you do is write a good story and you're set for life. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. But the story has lasted, I think, and it didn't work out, by the way, because my agent, who was an elder gentleman, wonderful guy, he died. The publishing house got sold and split up, and then Miramax was sold. I mean, everything just fell apart, and I had to get a day job. But I think the story, I know, writer's life. And so I think the story lasted, however, for 25 years because it was truly written from my heart. And it's a story of a young woman who's in college. She is not a traditional college student. And so I fashioned it after my own life. I've been financially independent since I was 17. So I always had to work, and not all the jobs were really great. In fact, I would have contests sometimes with my friends as to who had the worst job. And I fell in love with a Vietnam veteran. And 7 years later, when he was 33 years old, he died of cancer because of exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. And so when everything fell apart, the book went by the wayside. I didn't think about it for a long time, had another job, wrote a lot of other books, but on its 25th anniversary, I realized this story still has impact today. We're still looking at so many things that are going on. And of course, there are still young women who think they have their lives all planned and then everything falls apart. And I always described it as it was as if I had all these pictures in my head of how my life was going to be. And then
mm.
the pictures disappeared. And I had no idea where to go from there. And so, isn't that every woman's journey? That can happen to anyone. And that's what women's fiction is all about. And that's what I love to write is women's fiction, the story with romance, but the story of a woman's journey and how when everything falls apart and everything goes wrong, she finds a way, usually out of necessity. We can either wallow in pity for the rest of our lives, or we can pick ourselves up and carry on. So even though it's fiction based upon my life, it is fiction. And it is the story of a woman who has to do just that, pick herself up and carry on.
I love that, Linda. And you did what they always say to do, write what you know. And so
Mhm.
that's a jumping off point. And it's so interesting because I love how the term is women's fiction. Nobody says man's fiction, which you ever think about that?
Yes, I
But
have actually. Yeah.
right? And yet the book, when it came out, was so timely to today, even though it's historical, it's the 60s and all of that, and the 70s, it's still really timely to what's going on today. And how did your writing change from when you first wrote it to like when you update? Like, tell me just how nobody else will have to know. Just tell me.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just for you to know
Yes.
what happened. Well, the book, when it initially came out, I didn't write it until 1999. That's when it came out. And when it originally came out at 120,000 words, it was a bestseller, as I said.
Mhm.
And so that was great. I looked at it 25 years later and said, wow, there are a lot of words in this book, just words, words, words. And I felt like there was a lot of redundancy. And what I
Mm.
realized was, I think, not only for me as a writer, but I think for readers as well, we've become accustomed to most things being faster, happening more quickly, moving along. We do, I hate to admit it, but I think most of us have a shorter attention span because of what we've become accustomed to, me included as a writer.
Right,
And
right.
so I took out 25,000 words. I mean, that was a huge edit, just huge. And so it ended up at 95,000 words, which for readers, that's an average
Mhm.
size book today. And so it reads much more coherently. It's faster. It gets to the point, and for instance, more quickly. And I'm truly happy with it today. I was so happy I was able to do that. I didn't have to just toss it away and say, "Oh, it's hopeless," but I was able to call out all of that repetitive information and make it what it is today.
Awesome. It is a wonderful read, and
Thank you.
and going on her journey, and it was really fun. The pizza and all.
I know. It was the era. You remember the pizza? It was the era of free sex, and everybody was supposed to be having free sex. And this was my life story. I was sitting in the pizza parlor with my friends, going, how come we're here with each other? And everybody else there is apparently having a really good time, whatever it is. It's not happening to us. And so that was a lot of fun.
That's why I mentioned the pizza, because I knew you were going to say that. And that just cracks me up because, again, when you wrote it, it resonates with so many of us who you're like, people are talking that they're doing all these amazing things, and you're like, really? This, what am I doing? And you wrote it so well that way that I just remember laughing over that, on that whole premise.
Oh, I'm so glad. And my other favorite pizza scene in the story is when she's been homecoming queen, but and it's the night of homecoming, but her date got drunk. She had to take him home. And so everybody else is out partying, and she's back at the pizza parlor with her friend on her big homecoming night. And that really happened to me, listening to the guys in the next table argue about whether or not that's the homecoming queen. And one is saying, no, it isn't. The other thing, yeah, yeah, it is. I know that's her. No, she wouldn't be here. She'd be at all these parties and balls. And the other one says, our homecoming queen's got to be a lot cuter than that. And
Oh,
and so you know what? We just kept eating our pizza, my friend and I. What are you gonna do?
that I love that. That is so fun. All right. So now I'm gonna take us to Mackinac Island and the inn at Lilac Island and your Mackinac series. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness, I love writing about Mackinac Island. And the nickname for the island is Lilac Island during their Lilac Festival in early June every year. And oh, it's just so magnificent when all these hundreds of lilac trees and bushes are in bloom. The scent all over the island is just so beautiful, so wonderful. But I've been visiting the island. It's in Lake Huron in Michigan, and I've been visiting the island since I was 9 years old. Went with my parents and my little sister for the first time, and that was it. I've tried to get back as often as possible. Now I go every summer, every year. There's a lovely bookstore there that has all my books. So I go every year for a signing. But Mackinac Island is the most incredible historical, charming place because they don't allow automobiles, no cars, no motors. And so it's like going back 150 years. You either walk or you ride a horse or you rent a carriage, a horse-drawn taxi,
Mhm.
um, and that's it. And so I love being there and just the feeling of what it was like at one time. And so again, women's fiction with romance, of course, and the Inn on Lilac Island. I had so much fun conjuring up a story of a woman who's 50 years old. Everything's gone wrong. She's been fired from her job. Her husband's cheating on her. She's getting a divorce. She's alienated all of her friends because she's so miserable. So
Just
she
another
goes,
day, right?
yeah, I know. So she goes to this inn. She booked online and goes to this inn and has an address. And she gets there and finds out it's not an inn. She's been scammed. And it's just a woman lives there. It's her house. And more people show up, and a storm comes and they can't get away and they have to figure out how to get along. I just had so much fun with that scenario in one of my favorite places.
What was your inspiration to get to like, because when the opening scene of she's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I could just picture that, because I truly am I am gullible. So it's in the picture, it's in this. I believe what I see. So I would be absolutely, what was your inspiration for that?
Well, we hear so much about people being scammed these days, but I tried to push her. I took a class once from Donald Moss, a writer's class, and he said, when you take your character to the edge of a cliff, he said, don't pull him back, push him off. And I loved that, and I never forgot that. And he said, and then you as a writer have to figure out how they're going to survive. And so I thought, what career would a person have had that she would think she was really hot stuff? And she'd moved from Michigan after college to New York City, and she was a soap opera star, and she was really full of herself. But when everything goes wrong and she gets fired from the soap and is getting a divorce, she decides to go back to this island that she'd heard about when she was a child to just try to figure out what to do. But I wanted to push her as far as I could. She thinks she's really hot stuff. She ends up in this broken down old house with people who all hate each other in the beginning, and a woman who doesn't even want them there, but she's not cruel. She's not going to push them out in a storm. And so that was the thinking behind all of that. And of course, um, with the romance, there's a guy who lives on the island. Not only does he live there, he's a construction worker and kind of a handyman, and he lives with his mother. And she wondered, I, the star from New York, can I fall in love with a man like this? And of course, she does.
I love it. And I love how you gently wrote in there and there's some romance in there because I always love how the romance just always flows within the novel. It doesn't overtake it, but it's always great. Can you tell me how you pepper your books with the romance?
Well, it's interesting, Sandra, because I would do totally open door scenes in
Hmm.
romance, except that I know that's not what my readers expect. It's not what they prefer.
Hmm.
So women's fiction readers generally don't like the really hot, spicy romance kind of thing. And so I pull it back and I pepper it throughout the story. And sometimes I just do it with a dream or with a fantasy. She's sitting on the
Mm.
beach. She's reading a romance novel and she's reading this scene. And I'll take it right up. Yeah, right until it starts getting really hot. And then she's interrupted. And so, yeah. And so we understand that she wants romance. She wants love. She wants all of this, but I don't get too detailed about it. And so for me, I've found that that works. And I've always wondered, is the day going to come when I'm just going to go ahead and open the bedroom door and let whatever happens happen? And I've done some of that. And so I mean,
Mhm.
I get real close, but haven't gone there yet. And it's worked so far. I'm happy with the way it turns out like that.
It's so funny that you say that, because of what your readers expect. I love you as a writer and an author, that you have such a huge fan base and reader base. You kind of know what they like and what they love, and so you kind of cater to that. Can you talk about your fan base a little bit? Because some of the things you do are just so cool. So anyway, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well, like most authors, in the beginning, I was just happy if anybody read one of my books. And so readers need to know that this is the way it is for us in the beginning. My mom read my book and my aunt and this other woman in my town. In fact, in my little hometown in Michigan, 2,000 people, I got a call, Sandra, just the other day from a 91-year-old woman who wanted to know if my books were on cassette tape. And I know, isn't that sweet? I mean, that's so sweet because she can't read, she can't see anymore, and she only plays cassette tapes. And so some of my readers have been with me forever. And I feel very devoted and dedicated because I've been in this for 25 years. So I'm very devoted to them. But as an author, we all know you need more than the 2,000 people in your hometown in order or your 50 cousins, whatever it is, in order.
Shocker. You mean it can't be just your cousins and your family to make up your base?
Oh, I know. And so we have to go out and find people we don't know. And so I've just been so delighted that those people have come a lot from book clubs, by the way.
Mm.
I've done a lot of book club meetings over the years. And instead of thousands, I'm not on TikTok. Well, I am, but I only watch dancers and animals. But 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 instead of huge audiences over the years, I've built a following by going to small groups, by going to book clubs, and by meeting with people and doing book signings at all kinds of bookstores, including indies. And so it's just been small group after small group after small group that has come together.
Well, you
And
have you have a signing coming up, right? And you're doing some fun things at that. Where's your signing going to be?
well, I have a couple things coming up. I have one on Mackinac Island at the Island Bookstore, and every year I do that on my birthday weekend, and so that's always fun. And of course, the inn on Lilac Island will be there, and I have a number of island books. And
When's your birthday weekend so people know?
the June 9th is my birthday.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and I'm going to be 77 years old. I'm just in awe that
Magical numbers. You're 77 years young.
I know.
Yes.
So there you
Oh,
go. But the island will be beautiful. It's during their Lilac Festival. That will be a fantastic time. If anybody has ever thought of going there, that is the time. Well, any time of year is great, but it's really beautiful then. And then in Green Bay, Wisconsin, there is a reader event, and I've not done one of those in a long time. And we'll see. I've never done one in Green Bay. I don't know if anybody knows, but it's way up north on a map in Wisconsin. And that's going to be fun. I'm doing it with a narrator, Steve Corona, who narrated one of my books. And
mhm.
he is awesome. He's just the most fabulous book narrator. And he said, hey, because I was going to be in Michigan, you'll be close. He said, you want to come do this with me? And we're doing that. The I don't remember what day it is. It's the next week, the next
Okay.
weekend. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I tell you, yeah, I hear sometimes you're doing all these cool things and I'm like, oh, I just want to go and go to this one and that one, which
Come on. Yeah, come on over.
yes, I do definitely want to come to Mackinac Island at some point because when you write about it, it's so descriptive and so beautiful. And the way you talk about it, absolutely.
We need to have a writer event up there
There you go. I love
all
it.
together. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, see, her wheels are turning. I love this. This is so, so
Me
cool.
too.
All right, while your wheels are turning, I'm gonna switch it a little bit. Here's my question for you. If you were going, so Mackinac Island is building a brand new library, and you get to donate 3 books in your name. And what 3 books would you want to make sure the bookstore had, or the library had? Sorry,
The library. So they had a brand new library. My books or other books?
not your books.
Okay. I have to confess, Alexandre Dumas.
Okay.
He's a classic
Mhm.
French author
Yep.
in the 1800s. I love all of his work. The Three Musketeers, The Man in the Mask, The Count of Monte Cristo. And I just read his work over and over and over. And that might seem odd for a women's fiction writer, but it's the adventure. And so it's that sense of adventure I like to put into my stories. And I would recommend anybody read his. Um, I would also recommend, you know what, there's an author that you and I both know that I read. I'm sure you know her, Trisha O'Malley. I
Mhm.
read everything of hers because some of my books are set in Scotland and so are hers, and some of hers, and also in Ireland. And so I just love the way she describes the scenery and the relationships and the romance. I mean, it's just, she writes great stuff. So one of hers, like, and so I can only pick one other one. Let me think. It would probably be something like To Kill a Mockingbird. It would be something rather serious that I believe everyone should be able to read.
Got it. Oh, that's awesome. And what's your favorite children's book?
I haven't read, you know what? It should be yours.
No, 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 no. Favorite children's book. Go ahead.
Tell us again the name of yours first, though. What's the name of yours?
Mm-mm. This is on
Oh,
you.
okay, okay.
This is on you, love.
All right, my favorite children's book, I haven't read one in years. When I was a girl, I read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. It's not
Hmm.
really a children's book, but it's young adult. And
Yes.
that really impacted my life. My librarian, by the way, our town librarian,
Hmm.
and in fact, she was the kind of person we loved her, but she was pretty blunt. I'll never forget. She had in her hand and she went, "You need to read this," and she gave it. I read it and I loved that book about a young girl who loves her dad, but he's an alcoholic and then he dies and she has to figure out. I was
Yep.
even at that age, the journey of figuring out where you go next when everything falls apart.
Ah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So before we go, I just want to, what are you working on next? So what can the readers expect next from you?
Well, after the inn on Lilac Island, I wrote The Cottage on Lilac Island, and it's really my homage to teachers because it's about a teacher who goes to the island to get away from it all. She's had it with people, had it with children, and she meets a little boy on the beach, and
Okay.
that's the way that, and there's a love story with the boy's dad. But now I'm working on the bookshop on Lilac Island, so they're all part of the same trilogy. And it turns out that there was a secret old bookshop on the island that nobody knew was there. The front of the building was being used for something else. And when it was sold, they opened it up, and here are all these fabulous old magical books. And so I'm just having so much fun with that.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I look forward to that as well. Oh my goodness. All right. As we're closing out, where can our viewers find you? How can they connect with you and how can they find you? What social media platforms are you on and how can they find your work?
Sandra, thank you. They can find me everywhere. I'm on all the platforms and especially on Amazon. Of course, they can find all of my books on Amazon, and I have a website, www.lindahughes, really easy, my name.com.
Uh,
And they can find
awesome.
everything there. Thanks.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Wow. This has been such an incredible conversation. Huge thanks to Linda Hughes for sharing your journey and your insights. If you haven't read Linda yet, you know my thing. What you waiting? All right. So check out the links. I'll put all the links to find Linda below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your favorite takeaway from today's chat. Until next time, keep reading, keep dreaming, and keep sharing your own story. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Sandra.
Bye bye.